I'm Bailey Day, and I'm here with Katie Howard and Frank Thompson with Barry Sparks and his family to talk about his time as a rock and roll star.
All right. Very cool.
So when and where were you born?
I was born in Portsmouth, Ohio, on June 20th, 1968. To my whatever the story I've been told was we lived in Lucasville, and my dad had asthma, and I had asthma really bad to the point where they had to take me to the doctor and stuff all the time. So the doctor said, it would help if you lived somewhere dry. And what do you mean dry? Like Arizona. So my parents in 1970, when I was 2, we moved to Tucson, and instantly I had no more asthma, and I still don't have asthma. So although I miss Lucasville and it's beautiful here, I'm glad I grew out of it. So I'm glad they did that. So
yeah. So who were your mother and father?
Linda Merritt and Gerald Sparks. We went by the name of Butch, and yeah. So let's see. My mom, you'll be able to help me more. I think she lived in Lucasville most of the time.
She did.
And my dad, I think he lived in Minford and is it Clarktown?
Clarktown.
Both of those places, right? Okay, all right.
So what was their occupation since they?
My dad was a woodworker. He did cabinets and built houses. And I think Frank might know this story, but when he was like 13 years old, he built his first house of kitchen cabinets and installed them like in one of the neighbors' houses. But it was like he was 13 years old doing a professional kitchen. So he built houses, and he taught. That's what I did too for a long time while I was playing too. So he taught me all that. Yeah,
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have any brothers or sisters?
Yeah, I got 3 brothers, 2 brothers. Sorry, I'm used to my own kids. 2 brothers and 1 sister. I'm the youngest, and I got Kenny and my sister Melinda and Kevin. Yeah.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. So, your wife.
Mm-hmm.
When did you guys get married?
We got married in 2007 in Italy. Actually, we got married in Italy. She was here. She came over visiting, and we'd have to leave every 90 days to get a stamp on a passport, and that was great. I took my mom to Italy and everything, and then I kind of messed it up because we had to do it again, and I had a gig up in Washington, so I had the bright idea of just driving up. We'll drive up the coast, and then we'll drive into Canada, and then we'll get a stamp, and you're good for another 90 days, and we're fine. And that didn't go over like I thought it would. They apparently it was illegal somehow, so they stuck her on a plane and said she couldn't come back unless she got married or had a visa. So I ended up going to Italy and get married, which was wonderful, but much harder to come back. So it took me about a year and a half. I couldn't come back home. It would have been easier if we just ran out to Vegas and did it, but and I had a lawyer working for me and everything, and it still took a year and a half. But so yeah, 2007.
Yeah. So you said you were 2 years old when you moved to Tucson.
Tucson, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Tucson. Sorry, I can't
That's
pronounce
okay.
it. So what was it like growing up there?
It was great. It's really hot desert. It's really hot. I mean, it gets like 110, 115 degrees. It's a dry heat. I know that's a joke, but it was awesome. We lived on the side of a mountain, and it was a great town back then. And we built houses. My dad built houses, so we built a house and live in a little trailer where we built it, and then sell it, and we built another one, and then. So we moved around a lot, but it was great. It was awesome. Yeah.
So sources tell us you started playing the guitar at the age of 10.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, so who were like your early influences?
Okay, I was a big Kiss fan in the 70s because that's what everyone was listening to. Kiss, Aerosmith, and Rush, and all the bands, the bands that were popular at that time was what I was listening to, and I think it was much more exciting back then. As far as if I was a kid today, I probably would care less. I probably wouldn't want to play guitar. But back then, there was no computers and stuff. It's kind of so it was a great time. You know, I liked Kiss and Evel Knievel. Probably don't know who he is.
No, I do.
You know Evel Knievel? Yeah. So I was into him, and one day, like when I was 10, me and my brother were sitting around. We just let's get some guitars, you know. And I think I was the only one with the drive to really work at it and took it serious, and I practiced all the time, and yeah.
So, did you play like the regular guitar your whole life, or did you switch up?
You know what? I started on guitar. First off, I'm left-handed.
Oh, same.
Oh yeah. So I had a guitar. I held it like this, and then my being the youngest, they're like, "Dumb, you're holding it wrong." Huh? What are you talking about? So I just turned it around like this, and then we went to the first guitar teacher at the small music store, and he goes, "Well, I don't teach left-handers." Oh, whatever. I don't know. So I just turned it over. So I play right-handed. So, which has been a benefit, I think, because my strong hand is playing this. So it's natural to me now. So, was that the question? Was it supposed to? Yeah.
So, did you ever play the bass guitar?
Oh, that's right. I started on a guitar, and then my brother, who's 2 years older than me, was starting high school, and he had a friend of ours that had electric guitar, and he was pretty good, and they were going to start a band. And I felt, oh, great, here I am, left out in the cold. So I started playing bass at that time, which is what I totally love to play, and I totally love the bass. So that's when I started. I started guitar at 10 and probably bass at 12, maybe. Yeah.
So you were part of your brother's band then?
Well, yeah, sort of. We call it a band, but they basically, in our bedroom, we had a guy who set us drum set up, and then we had our amps, and we just drove our parents crazy, and we played so loud that stuff on my sister's shelf would always fall off and break. So I guess it was a band, but really just kind of a jam in the bedroom.
Yeah. So when did you start? Like, when were you in your first official band?
Well, I played in high school. We had bands that would play parties and stuff like that. I guess it's official. Then it wasn't until I was 20 when I was like, if I want to do this, I need to move to Los Angeles, because that was where, if you want to be a professional, you had to go there. So then I moved there, and I think I started getting into different bands and stuff like that. But so everything up until that was sort of a band, but really, you know, how much? Yeah.
Can you name some of those bands?
We had one called Andrea Doria over the Italian ship that sunk. You know this story?
Oh, yeah.
The guitar player came up with that name. We didn't have a name. We were playing at a friend's party, and they go, "What's your name of your band?" We don't know. I don't know who said it. Vigilante. Oh, Vigilante, great. So we don't know. So there wasn't many names. It was usually, "Hey, Sparks, your band playing this weekend?" It was usually like that. Yeah. So.
So where did you start to play at that point? You said you moved to Los Angeles. So
Okay. So let's see here. Let's see. I started playing. I was working. Doing kitchen cabinets and woodwork and stuff all day long. I had to get up at 4:30 in the morning, be at a job site at 6:30. I'd work all day long, and then I had one side of my truck that was tools, and then I had one side of my truck that was amplifiers. You know, so I would play at anywhere I could, small little bars and stuff, playing cover songs, and eventually the gigs started getting a little bit better. Then all of a sudden it was like, "Oh, you're playing with this guy they knew someone with a record deal," and pretty soon someone has a record deal, and then so it got a little bit better. Partially because, at that time Los Angeles was the place to be. If you're a musician, you had to play there. I mean, but there's a billion guitar players to 10 bass players. That was a benefit, at least who were able to play well. So that set me apart, being a bass player. Like, oh, we need a good bass player. You know, everyone plays guitar. We got plenty of Eddie Van Halens, but they didn't have any bass players, so that helped me a lot. Yeah.
So, What notable people did you start playing with?
Okay, let's see. The first guy I was playing with this guy I saw open up like professional rock concerts I live in Ventura, and he came out and he'd play acoustic guitar and he'd sing. And I just moved there and said, this guy's great. So I went to the music store the next day, like, who's this guy? And they all knew who he was. So I tracked him down. His name was Rick Hunter, and he played all over the place. Him and his acoustic, and he could, entertain a whole room. He was great. So I asked him, hey, I'm a bass player, I'm gonna put a band together, and he was, yeah, let's do it. So we started playing, and he got some, it was kind of a weird thing. He had some people putting some money to record some professional demos, and the guy was a well-known producer. He'd done a lot of hit songs and stuff, and we're recording this stuff, and he was kind of like, we're recording basically, say, listen, forget about this stuff. We're getting a deal with here's my band. We're getting a deal with Sony, and I need you. He was kind of real strong. I was a little kid, so he was a real orderly kind of guy. He was great. So, hey, kid, I need you in my band. You're good. I need you. So okay. And he was great. He's a really talented guy, and I learned a lot from him because he produced records. And at the time, I would leave the studio just so mad because he would be so harsh. Do it again. Like, and it was really tough. It was just, I'd leave there just crushed. I can't do anything with this guy. Can't play 3 notes, it's not right. But I learned what you got to do in a studio. And so I started playing with him. And at the same time, there was a guy his name was Guy Man Dude, was his name. And he was a professional drummer who one day decided he was going to be a guitar player, and he in like 3 years he became this amazing guitar player, and he got a record deal in MCA, and I started playing with him at the same time. So it was a crazy time because I was working every day, getting there at 6 a.m. and then driving home, or not even driving home, going to rehearsal till 12 o'clock at night, or playing a gig every night with like 2-3 different bands. So it was a tough time, but I learned a lot. And each gig sort of opened a door for another one, someone else that I met or something. Yeah.
So where all have you traveled to?
Oh my gosh, let's see. Well, let's see. The first tour I did with this Guy Man Dude, we had played a gig at the Guitar Institute in Hollywood. And this guy came up to this, and at this time, we were just playing bars around LA. And the guy comes up and I'm Miloš from Czechoslovakia, and I'm famous, and I make records over in Czechoslovakia. And so, really? Okay, wow. So he wanted to make a record with this guy, so they made a record, and we toured in Czechoslovakia. It was amazing. It was awesome. They had a hit song. It was before the internet and everything, so it was this own little scene in Czechoslovakia. So he's very famous there, did TV and stuff. And then after I came back from that, when I started playing with Yngwie, my gosh, we've been everywhere, all over Europe. I played in Africa, Australia, Japan, millions of times. My gosh, everywhere. Canada, I don't know. Africa, I said, yeah. Maybe I forget a couple places. Mostly everywhere that you can get to usually. I mean, even Poland. Poland was tough to get into. We played there. So I might forget a couple things, but yeah.
Can you tell us about your life on the road?
Okay, yeah. You know what? Since I was a little kid, I was so driven, and that's all I wanted to do. I didn't care about anything else. School, I just looked at the clock. I want to go home and practice. That's all I did. So I never cared about bad hotels, bus rides. I've always been doing it my dream, so it's always been super awesome. I mean, you play gigs, and you might not go on till 10:30, so you might not be done till 1:30, and then they, depending on what band it is, if the crew has to load up the gear, it might not be till 3:30 before you leave the place, and then you drive, and you might wake up in another town, and they might got a couple hours, and then go take a shower for a sound check for the next gig. So it's tough, but I've always loved it, you know, so it's not tough for me, but it's actually tougher not doing it.
Yeah. So when did you decide to settle down and?
Well, we never really settled down.
Oh.
We just, we have a bunch of kids that actually, okay, so about 10 years ago or a little bit more than that, I was mostly playing with this band called Bees. And there's a Japanese band, except they're the most popular Japanese band like in history. So they're sort of like the Beatles or the Stones of Japan. They sold over like 80 million albums in Japan. So when we play concerts there, it'd be 85,000 people, you know, and they can 50,000, and they can sell out 4 nights in a row with 50-something, 60,000 people. It's crazy. So it's the biggest thing. But the nice thing about it was that we'd have an apartment in Tokyo, and you just play on the weekends. And in Japan, you have a bullet train, which goes a couple hundred miles an hour or something. So you just sit there and you're in the next town. So it's easy. So my wife and my kids have always been with me, and they've got to watch the shows. In fact, when they were born in Italy, within 2 weeks of being born, a couple of weeks, they were already on a plane to Japan to a gig somewhere. So it's actually it's great, you know. We sort of never we had kids, but we sort of just always still go as much as we can.
Do you like going with Daddy all over the place?
Yeah.
He's like, no, I don't know.
He does. They don't actually know any different. He just kind of wakes up and where are we at today, you know? So, yeah, they have a blast. You know what though? My wife, we homeschool our kids too, and my wife is an awesome teacher with it. She does so well with it that we have the freedom to go and kind of do what we need to do and what we want to do. So it's great. Yeah.
Yeah. So I believe in 1996 you joined the Michael Schenker group.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you played with the legendary guitarist.
Mm-hmm.
So, how did you meet this German rocker?
Okay, first off, Michael Schenker. Since I was 10 years old, Michael Schenker has been, and to this day, is my favorite guitar player. To me, he's the ultimate lead guitar player. I was playing with Yngwie, and somehow I got a call from Michael's manager saying that Michael was putting Michael Schenker group together, and was looking for a bass player and stuff, and I was like, yeah, I want to do it. I'm a big fan and stuff. So we started playing with him around that time, but it was really like playing he was definitely my guitar hero, and he still is. He's a friend of mine. I've done 4 records and tons of tours with him. So that was like 96. We did 4 or 5 records, something like that, you know. So yeah, it was great playing with Michael. He's not the most stable guy, but he's, when it comes to guitar playing, he is. There were times he just plays something. So cool, so great. I could just
Can you tell a story about taking his guitar in Tucson and then they cleaned it?
Oh my gosh, you can't clean his guitar. He had actually there's an album called Built to Destroy, and on the cover of it has him smashing his guitar, his Flying V, into a car window. And that's actually some real story behind that. But that guitar was to a fan, it would be priceless, but it was a Flying V guitar. All the paint's ripped off of it. The neck was broke, and it had been fixed by a repairman using drumsticks. If you can imagine, it was done very well. You could see, oh yeah, it is drumsticks. Wow, it's crazy. And one day, he needed some guitar work done down in Tucson. He lives up in Phoenix. So, I can take it down. Yeah, the one guy they trusted was the guy in Tucson that would work on it. So, and he played it. And he was really funny about his guitar strings. Most people, like with bass, I like to change them for every show so they're nice and new sounding. He doesn't change them until they break individually. So he doesn't change them, touch them. If you change them for him, he'll freak out. He'd really freak out. So my instructions were take this Flying V, but it had like tons of grime on it, like from years of playing. Just it's really gross. But On the neck. I was instructed that make sure under no condition can they clean the neck. They can't clean it, they can't touch it, they're to do, it's very strange, but he's a little strange, but so that was the story about, I had to make sure that no one cleaned the guitar, yeah. And before a show, he has to, the pick he's been playing with, he likes to warm up a couple hours, he'll play with the pick. And there's been times where we're getting ready to go on stage, and like he was in a bus or something like a couple miles down the road, and they pull him over to the show, and he's like, "Oh, my pick! We got another one here." It has to be the same pick that he'd been warming up on. So he's a little funny like that, but he's the ultimate. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah. So you also played with Billy Myers.
Billy Myers, right? Yeah.
And you appeared on many TV shows with them.
Okay.
So what were some of those shows?
Okay, yeah, Billy Myers. Let's see. With that, I knew a guy and worked with Universal Records that used to call me for when he was putting these bands together. So he called me for a couple of things. I came out there. I drove out. I go, well, I got to drive from Tucson. He goes, okay. So I drove out there, and he says, hey, he pulled me aside. If this doesn't work out, it's okay because I'm going to definitely call you for things. So he kept calling me for a few, and Billy Myers was one of them. And I auditioned for that gig, and I got the gig. And the very next night, we played her song, like her hit song. She did a lot of songs, but it's called "Kiss the Rain," and it was like, oh, tomorrow night we're playing Sinbad's TV show. With Sinbad, you probably don't know him, but he was a comedian, and he had a TV show for a while. We played there. We played Tonight Show, Jay Leno. We played Good Morning America, Rosie O'Donnell. My gosh.
Is that a TV show that was recorded?
Oh, we played a show. I remember playing there in, was it Venice? I remember it's called Festival Bar. In Venice. Okay, she was probably like 6 years old then, but okay. We played. We played in Venice. I remember doing the gig, and some of the TV shows are really funny because sometimes the vocal is live, and we want to play live, but the TV shows don't let you. They don't let you, and also they're trying to push a hit song, so they can't risk the fact that some sound man messes up the sound or something. So it's always goofy. If you feel really goofy, okay, let's act like we're playing the song and it's real quiet and there's TV cameras. And that was one that was especially goofy feeling. But my wife remembers that being a kid because she taped it on when she, yeah.
My future husband was with it.
So let me see. I was must have been 29, I guess, something like that. It was 30. Let's see.
12.
Anyway, she had the VHS tape of it, so I thought that when we met, she goes, "I saw you on Billy Myers. I think I have that tape." I was like, "Oh wow, that's weird." That's weird. Okay,
I
yeah.
recorded the Tonight Show when we went on.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Tonight Show was really awesome because I mean, I grew up with Johnny Carson, Johnny Carson, and that was the real deal. And now, of course, Jay Leno compared to what the guy went now, I love him, but Jay Leno is the real deal too, sort of like. So when Jay Leno came in the dressing room, it was like, it's really cool, and that was definitely a thrill. I think I told someone yesterday when we played. Let's see, was it Good Morning America or something like that? Oh, we played in like, let's say, we woke up and we took a small plane to Kansas City and we played this gig, like a radio station gig with all kinds of bands. Maybe 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock we were there. We quickly went to another airport, hopped on a plane in St. Louis, played another show, probably done at 8:30 or 9, hopped on another plane to New York City, got there about 12:30 at night, and they said, okay, meet you in the lobby at 5:30, we're playing Good Morning America. So you'd be like, what's going on? And then right after we filmed that, it's hard, when you don't realize this, but when you film those TV shows, they have this bright white for the lighting. So you just woke up, you're like, Good Morning America, okay. And then you try not to squint, We played that, and then immediately, right from a TV station, drove to the airport in New York City, flew to Europe, flew to England, and then the next morning or day we were on top of the Pops, which was like the biggest thing. It was like American Bandstand, American Bandstand, but
Yeah.
it's like that in England. So that was a crazy, with Billy Myers, it was a crazy schedule because she had a hit song. It was really neat because it was a lot of work. We had acoustic guitars and we'd go to radio stations in the morning and play the song. And then all of a sudden that song would become a hit there. So we could see it. We were like actually creating this whole thing. It was cool. I didn't actually play on the record because I joined afterwards, but it still was a thrill, like to see, like, wow, this is actually happening. So it was awesome, yeah, super cool.
You also toured with Motor City Madman Ted.
Oh, Ted Nugent, yeah. Oh my gosh, I forgot about him. When I was a kid, I remember getting, what was the movie? What was the album? State of Shock. Yeah, one of his albums, State of Shock. I remember I was begging my mom, please, I want a present early. It was like Thanksgiving or something. And I was about 12, and she finally gave in. Here you have this one. It was a Ted Nugent album. I love Ted Nugent. Years ago, was it 2002 or something? I was playing with Dawkins, and we were touring with Whitesnake and Scorpions. And of course, I was friends with all the guys. The bass player, Marco Mendoza from Whitesnake. We were eating lunch in like this catering room. He came up and went, hey, you want to play with Ted Nugent this summer? I got this thing with Thin Lizzy or something he was doing. I don't remember what it was. And I was like, yeah, of course they do. So he told Ted all about me, and for about a month, every night we played Dawkins shows, and I would get to the where I could sit in the bus or in the bunk or whatever. It could be 2:30, 3 in the morning, and I would listen to the Ted Nugent songs and learn them. So the first time I met him, I was just totally on fire, ready to play. And Ted is awesome. Ted is super cool. He's great to play for, and I remember no matter what he does, no matter whatever TV show he's on, whatever news show he's on, he'd always find some way to go, my band's great. I got Tommy Confettos and drums and Barry Sparks and bass. He was always very, very cool. He's a great guy. Yeah. I mean, most people don't know that, but he's really super cool. Yeah.
And you also recorded with the Scorpions?
Recorded with the Scorpions, yeah. That was the same tour. I was kind of really on fire that year because I did tons of things that year. The guy from Whitesnake on that very same tour. Was that Whitesnake? The Scorpions, yeah, the Scorpions. So I didn't know this, but Scorpions were having problems with their bass player. I don't know what was going on. So the drummer would bring the guitar player, hey, Matthias, come here, they're German. You got to check this guy. That's the guy we need. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know they're watching me play with Dawkins. So I was playing, I got the first tour of Bees, same year, 2003. And we were rehearsing in LA, and Rudolf Schenker from Scorpions answered the phone. Hello, who's this? It's Rudolf Schenker from the Scorpions. Oh, really? Can I come to Germany to record the Scorpions album? Yeah, sure I can. And it was such a wonderful thing, and it was also super bad timing because I just joined. Well, I just signed contracts with this band called Bees, and we were playing. The drummer was my friend. He was telling me, "Dude, you're gonna freak out. These shows are 75,000 people. This is the biggest thing in the world." It was a big deal, and I couldn't just tell them like 2 days before a show. I was, guess what? I'm not doing it. So I was kind of like, it was in a bad spot. So I told them I can go to Germany for 5 days before I go to Japan. And so they're all very cool. I did that. And the drummer the whole time was going, dude, you got the gig. Don't worry about it. I don't know Ralph. We don't know what's going to happen with Ralph, the bass player. At the time, I didn't even know if I was going to get credit for it. I didn't care. I didn't know if it was going to say Ralph and me playing. It was a little up in the air. If I had known more information about it, I probably would have, even though Bees is amazing. It's just the Scorpions would have been the ultimate dream. I've been a fan forever. They're great. But once I had to leave, I got to do this tour in Japan. Oh, we understand. It's okay. And he said, don't worry about it. You got the gig. But in the meantime, I had to go play. They got this other guy from Poland came in, ends up playing the rest of the record. Natural thing is that they just keep on going. But But yeah, Scorpions were great. It was awesome. They're still friends of mine and stuff. It's just unfortunate that I would have loved to have done more with them. Yeah.
So after touring with all those different people at all those different places, what were your favorite places to play?
Favorite places to play? No, even though I'm married to an Italian lady, probably Italy. It was always one of the best places. As far as shows go, well, let me think here. For a long time, I would say Japan. And that's because when bands like Michael Schenker or whatever, you go from playing a club to playing a really totally set up, really nice place with amazing crew and everything. So Japan is great to play for that, but I would say, oh my gosh, I like playing in Italy, but I also like playing like festivals like Sweden Rock Festival, and I mean, there's a bunch of bands, and it's exciting and fun. So, but you know, I don't know if I've always had the attitude as, I mean, I have just as much fun, believe it or not, if you're playing a small club as I have with bees playing for 80,000 people. It's a tough question. Because I got to go with Italy, Japan.
Italy, Japan.
Yeah.
So what were your best memories as a musician?
Oh my gosh. Let's see. Well, one of the best memories, I couldn't believe this, I was playing with bees, and we had this clear stage. It's too amazing to even try to tell you about it, but it was like thick, clear stage, like this thick. And it was, you know, my gosh, it's bigger than this whole room here. And it was on like these gigantic train tracks. And then halfway through the show, it rolls over the top of the audience. Not a couple feet. It goes from one side to the other like a football field, going over the whole audience. And the audience is down like, and you're playing. But we got to the end, and my daughter Serena was really young, but I'm playing, and I look out, and I see Serena out there, and she's looking at me. She's looking at me like, that's my dad up there, you know. She's looking at me, and it was one of those moves like time stop. I just saw my daughter. It was really great. That's probably the ultimate. Yeah. And then these guys too, right? You seen Dad play? Okay, but that was probably the ultimate. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So how old are your other children?
Let's see. Serena's 9. Let's see. Dennis is 7. Eric is almost 6. Let me think here. Leonardo is almost 4. And Ariana's a year and a half. Yeah. It's nuts, huh?
I love it. So, in addition to touring with bands, you also play your own music and write your own music, right?
Yeah, I've always done that. And I've done a few albums that's been put out in Japan. Unfortunately, in today's environment with phones and stuff, it's really hard. I still do it. But even bands like Scorpions and Dokken, they're all feeling the effect of like YouTube and the phones. The phone thing has just changed everything. Because before that, when I was a kid, and even when I was 25 and 30 years old, the coolest thing you could do, I guess, maybe if you're into football, you go to a pro football game, or a favorite group you like to listen to, you see them play a concert. But now it's tough because, I mean, you're going on the street, I drive and I watch everybody, and there's people riding their bicycles by me, and they got their phone, you know? So, and also the YouTube, they get it for free, so it's tough. Oh, well, I was a bit. Yeah, that's right. That's amazing. I put out an album last year with the Bees tour called Bass in Your Face. And we sold it at these big shows. And I did this like autograph signing thing. And it's Bees Record Company, but I was told that it was the best seller. Was that right? The number one selling. So bizarre, and it was really, I'd like to think I'd like to take credit for it just being the music. I wish I could. It was very awesome. It was very awesome environment when you got 80,000 people show and you're signing autographs, And that's a great place to sell CDs. So we were selling tons of them at every gig. So it was, you know.
But you had the time, you had a way to skills for this.
Yeah. I'm being too modest, I guess, but it was.
Maybe I should answer the questions. But
Yeah.
you really great. You know,
It was great.
Together, where you show how you played, how good you played.
Yeah, I actually wanted a DVD, but I wanted a DVD.
It's so good so far. So.
Yeah. Anyways, that was great. So I still do it. It's just tough getting, and people's attention span for music is hard. So when you're a musician, you do it because you love it anyway. So it doesn't matter.
So who are you currently playing with now?
Okay, so well, I finished playing with Bees pretty much, and then up until last week, I'd just been working on different projects, and so I'm on my way to the first docking gig in 10 years. So it's going to be lots of fun. It's going to be fun to get the first one over with because there's no rehearsal. It's kind of like, 10 years later, see you on stage. So it should be interesting. So right now.
But it's also what they call you for that. I mean, I'm sorry, but
Okay.
it's true.
There's my
That's why they
cheerleader right there. So.
It's true. They know the issues happen. He's a professional. They know what he's doing and they know what he's playing.
Yeah, they knew they had some emergency thing happen. So we'll see how long it goes. I'm not sure. Well, we're gonna start playing this tour that they got set up, and the good thing is, we go right. Okay, the good thing is that they were doing. He goes, we're not doing the tour bus, we're just flying out on weekends. We're just flying out on weekends and playing. Is it still going?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're basically flying out on the weekends. And so instead of doing that, we are, since last couple months, become these crazy campers. So we're gonna kind of play the gigs, visit these guys, hang out for a little bit, head to the next show, sightsee, instead of me just going home and flying, going back and then flying out. Plus, to be honest, some people go, how can you drive? By the time you spend an hour driving to the airport, going to security, another hour and a half, waiting for your plane, getting on the plane, flying, waiting for the luggage, going to the hotel, you got 6 or 7 hours at best. I'd rather hop in my own car, crank up the tunes, and enjoy myself. See you there.
This is the band
Family
of
road
gypsies.
trip.
After Henry's band of gypsies, this is the 21st century.
Yeah, that's Jimi Hendrix, by the way. But
No bad.
yeah, so it's a little nutty, but we have a blast doing it. So yeah, so and the kids, and also the kids, since we homeschool them, we stop by and see everything that's super cool, like Rushmore and everything.
Because that's what
Arch.
you've been doing for all these years, but you never got to see any of the places you toured at.
Yeah,
You never stopped
that's right.
and see where you are. Yeah, you've been to all these places, but you didn't get to enjoy it.
That's right. I mean, we played. I was telling these guys. We just took everyone to the St. Louis Arch, and that's super awesome. You haven't seen it. And I tell my kids, I played here with Ted Nugent. We played July 4th, the big kind of radio concert thing, and they had a big stage underneath the arch. It was super awesome. And then it started storming and lightning. We got about 5 songs in, and then they had it must have been so bad that they canceled it, but it was a cool gig. Yeah. So.
So your brothers, you mentioned earlier, they're pretty musically inclined too, as well, right?
My brother plays a little bit. I think he is inclined, but unfortunately, when we were growing up, he's got talent. He definitely does. He just doesn't. He's just working and playing. And unfortunately, he doesn't. I was the only one nutty enough that really just got obsessed by it. So he was always a quick learner and plays. He still plays. So yeah, he's musically inclined. My mother was a great singer. Awesome singer, but she was so shy.
Yeah.
She was so shy, and I just remember I guess seeing you guys, it brings up memories, but she had to sing in church one time when I was a kid, and she was so scared to death. I remember driving to church, I must have been 8, and she was like ready to vomit. She was so sick. But my mom was a very good singer. Yeah. Wait, my grandmother, actually both grandmothers played piano pretty pretty darn good by ear. I can say that
Grandma
too.
Betty also played
So-
the violin.
Violin with
That's
organ.
right.
With
That's
organ.
right. So yeah. I guess so. Yeah.
It's just in the blood.
Yeah.
So, you are promoting a new single featuring Tony Franklin?
Oh yeah. Okay, so a couple years ago, I got this idea because a lot of times when you play bass and you're playing like you're playing these really technical songs, when you're out and sometimes in the mix and stuff, the way sometimes they mix albums, I get the mix down, and like, oh, I can't even hear what I'm doing. And I'm sort of playing a million notes back there, you know, and oh, a kick drum sounds great. Yeah, I'm playing the same thing. So anyways, I came up with this idea, like, that I could showcase a lot of what I was doing by putting a GoPro on the bridge and putting a GoPro up here. So I started putting music together that was sort of really focusing on playing bass, you know. And so that's one of the songs. And Tony Franklin is a total legendary bass player from The Firm, with guys from Led Zeppelin and different bands. So I thought it would be cool to get some songs together where I have a lot of cool stuff, and I make a place where I can showcase some of my friends that are some of the heroes, and he's the first guy I've done it with. So yeah. Hopefully I do
So
more.
that's one of the YouTube channel you got on the singles Christmas. You made
Oh,
a
yeah,
lot of-
yeah.
you paid
Again,
Christmas tunes.
Here's my biggest cheerleader here. She'll.
You need to tell them that.
You should sit here. Yeah. Okay.
That's
Okay.
your music. That's
Yeah. Yeah, I love the thing I like about it is that I can be totally self-indulgent. I want to put bass all over the place. It doesn't matter because you're not shooting for some 3.5 minute hit song. You're just trying
Yeah,
to.
you're doing something totally innovative
Yeah.
that nobody's ever done before.
That's right.
That's what you're doing right now. You spend so many hours and so many months.
See?
That's what you're doing.
She always gets upset with me because my first impression is to dumb down everything. Oh yeah, we're playing this dumb place down the street, the Astrodome. It's so dumb, you know. So that's what she's for.
Christmas music, that's amazing.
Yeah, every year I do it's been 3 years, 4 years. Yeah, I'm gonna do one with Billy Sheehan, who's like the ultimate shred bass guy. So, and there's a lot of guys. Yeah, a lot of guys like pro guys. I wanna and a lot of heroes of mine. I wanna get.
They're all jumping into this.
Yeah, write some songs where I can have a section where there's a solo section or whatever, and we can do like some of the videos I do. Like I try to think what's some weird, crazy thing I can do. Like one of them I did way up by San Francisco in the ocean, and it came out really cool but the funny thing was my guitar has all this brass on it, and I had no idea. The wood, it can get wet. You know, my guitars are really expensive, so I knew the wood would probably be okay, but the brass, just from a little bit of salt water, I had no idea I should know this stuff, but just got totally ruined, so I had to replace a bunch of parts. But yeah, so I tried to come up with a neat setting to do something like the Christmas videos. Yeah, so we got a YouTube channel. This is how we rock. Yep, we play all this stuff, and yeah, every year I do a Christmas one. I've done a couple of them in the snow, which is really hard because your fingers get so frozen. But it's fun to film them, and so I'll be working on one soon because it takes a while you get a Christmas song and you go, let me see what I can do to that. How are we can make it like crazy shredding bass on there? So I did Carol of the Bells. What else did I do?
Christmas wish.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, what else? Joy of the World. That one, and a couple other ones. Anyways, I'll be doing another one soon.
Ooh, I love it. So, speaking of bass guitar, you have one named after you.
Okay, yeah. Actually, my brother Kevin. Okay, let me see. The story goes like this. Okay, me and the guitar player from Dokken years ago, we met this guy from Wales who was a custom guitar builder, and he came to see, the Dokken guitar player came to see me play with UFO in New York, and I was playing a Thunderbird. A Thunderbird is a kind of an explorer, like a shaped guitar. And he goes, man, that guitar's so cool. I'm like, that's awesome. That's you, man. I go, this thing's a piece of junk. I hate it. You know, I go, I did it for the spirit of UFO because the guy that couldn't do it was one of my heroes in his visa. He couldn't do it, so I was doing it in the spirit of him. So I go, yeah, but this thing's awful. So we met this guy in Wales who's going to build us a guitar, custom guitars, and I wanted like a Thunderbird, but I wanted a little bit smaller. And we waited for like a year and it fell through. So my brother, Kevin, I go, well, he was bored and stuff. I go, why don't you build me a guitar? So he actually came up with the shape. And I had a couple of Sparks guitars for a while. Ted Nugent bought a couple, a guy in Alice Cooper's band bought one. So we had a few of them, anyway, a handful of them. I went to ESP in Japan and asked them, after playing with Beast for so long, we're going to make my signature guitar. So they started making it. And it's actually named after Serena. They goofed on the first one. It's called, if you Google Barry Sparks signature bass Serena, it's actually called that. That was when my daughter was born. And so they're great basses. They're the best basses I own, actually. I have a bunch, and I always count on them.
They're expensive too, right?
They're really expensive, actually. I was flattered and bummed out all at once because I asked the Japanese, I go, how much are they? Oh, $7,000. $7,000. It's awesome. It's super flattering, but it's hard for fans to kind of get a hold of them as much as I'd like. But they're great, and I'm honored that they're building a guitar. Yeah. This is where my wife goes, that's not all the story, it's just singing, you know.
Yeah.
Right? You made it. No, I'm saying, if I make it sound, it's super awesome. It's a big deal. It's super awesome.
You just don't
my
like
natural effect is, oh, this dumb thing here, so sorry, yeah.
Okay, so maybe we should ask your wife this.
Probably.
But what do you feel is your biggest accomplishment?
My biggest accomplishment, my gosh, would definitely be traveling the world with 5 kids and being, you know, having that and always doing that, and that's the greatest thing. I love playing bass. So musically, let's see. Oh my gosh, I never get to actually focus on that because as a musician, you're always focusing when you finish one gig, you're going like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do next? Because there's never any security. There's never any security. You got Social Security? What are you talking about? I used to think for years, I thought it was, you know, I remember playing with Yngwie at the Budokan. The Budokan. Now, when Bees would play there, we'd play, oh, we're playing the Budokan? That's funny. That's 10,000 people.
I think that your biggest accomplishment
Yeah.
is the fact that you played with all these rock heroes. The biggest. And you stayed the same as you were before you even started.
I can vouch for that.
And I mean it.
This
This
is-
like very cheesy,
this
but
is
this man is the most dominant
Oh my gosh.
person you'll ever meet in this business.
Oh my gosh.
This
Shucks.
is the same guy
Shucks.
that came to our house when he was a
Shucks.
teenager, listening to Led Zeppelin albums and so
Yep.
forth. He has more fun with his music
Yes.
than anybody.
That's probably true. Probably true. I'm
And
embarrassed now.
if your impression of rock music guys would be sex, drugs, and rock and roll, you're not talking about Barry.
Well, you know what? I've never been. I laugh because when I played with UFO and all these bands, like UFO was and still is one of my favorite bands. And they grew up in England in you know late '60s and early '70s making a rock band. And they always had it just handed to them. They didn't even care they had a record deal. It was just like, so I got a record deal. You know, they had the luxury. They just never had any responsibilities. As far as anything, they've always had Pete Way, he's always been able to just, I don't know, there's always someone ready to catch him. I've been sort of the sideman guy, but I've had to walk in the room and like be in a line of people auditioning and get the gig, and you got to be more professional and stuff. So it's funny for me when I play with some guys because they never had that. Mm-hmm. They show up at rehearsal. What are you playing, guys? What songs are we playing? I'm used to like with Bees. You're going to rehearsal and it's like, oh my God, it's really high pressure. There's millions of dollars for each show. I mean, there's 80,000 people. When you're rehearsing, it's not Van Halen, goofing around. You got these Japanese guys in suits with showing you the model where the bombs are going to go off, and so you got to show up. You got to know what's going on. You got to be on time. Ted Nugent was another guy who definitely, if you said, there was a tour bus, but a lot of times he liked to drive. Either the tour manager drive, and it'd be a car. It'd be like a small car, and be in the lobby at 3:30 or 7 in the morning. You better be there 15 or 20 minutes early, because so that definitely being a Ted. You don't mess around with Ted. He's great, but he doesn't put up with nothing. So
That's my kind of man.
yeah. So definitely, he you just, if you're gonna be a guy like me playing, if you don't have the luxury of being Eddie Van Halen laying on the couch and the whole world revolves around you, you have to show up on time and know the stuff. Yeah. So that's helped me.
So what are your future plans now?
Future plans, wow. Just to keep on playing and working, and as long as I'm doing different music things, and it's important that we, like, I can't imagine going on tour, and I couldn't go like, hey, I'll see you guys in 4 months. I'd rather not make any money and have them with me, because I can come back and go, wow, you guys are all big now and stuff. That'd be too weird for me. So that's one of the big things, that we're used to traveling together, and just to keep on playing, as long as I can. So.
Do you have any goals, like where you want to play next?
Yeah, sure. Unfortunately, the way it's almost like guys like me, when you get in survival mode, I do. I played in the biggest places, and one thing I learned playing in Japan, it was awesome playing with bees. It really was awesome. But playing in a big, huge place like that, I learned that that's cool, that's great, but that's not real. I can have just as great of a time in House of Blues. It's really, as I've said before, I'm not being negative or not. It's just a tough for guys like me. It's a tough scene. It's a tough scene with YouTube and phones. So just to keep on working. Yeah. Some professional way. That sound good to me? I mean that positively, right?
Right.
So do you have any advice for young people growing up in Lucasville?
Growing up in Lucasville, wow. Well, I don't have, I mean, I think it's beautiful here. I think it's a beautiful town, and as a musician or just people growing up here?
Just musician.
Wow. You know what? One thing I would say, because I know this doesn't sound dumb, but like being in a small town is really awesome. So I think a lot of young people, maybe you're thinking you got to go to New York or something like that, and there's really something beautiful about a small town. And my gosh, what advice? I'm not sure. Honey, help me out here.
I don't know, what's funny, because we said there's so many celebrities, so many famous people come from here. Like we saw the other night. So I think
Okay, that's a good point. They showed us the murals the other night, so if you're from Lucasville,
it's not missing out on
you can have your picture up there too. Yeah. So I think it's awesome here. Awesome here. When I was a kid, I have memories of it, and it seems so small, and I was used to the cactus and stuff, and as I get older, it's just so hot and stuff. So when we leave Tucson, we go, wow, it's so green. So you guys might be tired of it, but it's awesome. Yeah.
All right.
So.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How did you meet your wife?
Okay, how did I meet my wife? That's a great question. Make it. Okay, my wife was living in London, and I was playing with Dawkins in London, and it's a really nice story. It's not gonna sound like it, but we were playing, and this place called the Underworld. It's this little rock club in London, and usually these shows, there's a lot of rock dudes, and then guys, right? And I saw her out there.
I was supposed to come when I was 18, but there was a late.
I didn't mean to do this. There's no way to make this sound nice. So Okay, so I had this bass tech named Pascal. He was German, I think, Pascal or Austrian, maybe. I got in the plane. I go, dude, see if you can get her to go backstage. So, anyways, we talked back there. I go, wow, how you doing? And so I met her that night, and she got her autograph, and I wrote something really embarrassing on there, maybe. And what did I write, honey?
Your phone number was there.
I wrote stupid. And I added my phone number on there really cheesily.
Okay, I'm gonna hold this guy.
So yeah.
And then 2 years later, I just have fun.
Hold on. Let me get to this. Okay, so you're gonna make it short. Now I can really tell the story. Okay, because this is where I can actually tell. Okay. So I met her that night, and then I went over and wow, what's that girl? Okay, I went home about a year and a half later. No, wait.
2 years later, I text you and I said like, I don't know.
No. There's more to the story. Okay, so I would play there, and so I remember flying into London with Dawkins. We were heading to Greece, and we got to London, and the flight was canceled, and we're stuck in the airport by this little hotel there. So I was like, the show's canceled. We're staying here for a night, right? So I'm going to give her a call, right? So we're stuck in this little airport hotel. And as I'm telling the guys down at the little restaurant bar there, this pretty girl's coming. She's coming. She's going to be here tonight. She's going to be here. Yeah, whatever. So I'm waiting, like 10:30. I'm still telling them that. And she totally blew me off. She blew me off, didn't even show up, right? She said she was going, and she totally blew me off, okay? Wait, this is where I should stop. And then another time, she did like three or four times. And another time we were playing there, I thought, I'm just come on, hang out, just whatever, nothing. We played this big Monsters of Rock thing, and I thought, oh, surely it's come to that. Oh, hey, by the way, we're playing Monsters of Rock. Oh, we're just playing Monsters of Rock, this giant, biggest thing in the world over there. So, okay, I'll come, all right? So, all right, she's coming, put her on the guest list and everything. She's coming. She doesn't show up again.
Yeah, playing hard again.
Blew me off, right? So I call her. I'm really upset. Like, really? Okay, whatever, whatever. I'm getting mad at this point, right? We had to drive to a place called Nottingham, like Robin Hood. And, okay, I'll come up there. Okay. Blew me off again. So I called him after this really harsh. Anyways, this went on like 4 or 5 times. So at this point, I was like, I got this really nasty, how dare, blah, 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 blah. And oh, no, flip phone. It would have been a flip phone back in 2006. So then about a year later, she texted me. And, oh, you remember me and stuff? And then, so you should come to, I'm getting ready to move or something. You should come to London. So I just finished the tour. I've never gone on vacation. I've never been anywhere unless it was a tour, right? So I flew over there, and I remember landing going, you're such an idiot. She's not even going to be there. She's going to blow me off. So anyways, she finally didn't blow me off. And then I convinced her to come over and stay in Arizona. And then she got arrested in Canada, sent home, we got married. And it's funny because she still had a week left. She had a week left in her passport, and they come back and says, they had both passports. I go, who's this? Who's Italian passport? Oh, that's hers. She's my girlfriend. You're what? She's my girlfriend. Yeah. Are you gonna get married? Oh yeah, we've thought about it. Dumb. Come with me. And they arrested her, stuck her in a police car with the lights going.
I was terrified.
Yeah. And they were really harsh because they go, the officer's going, you are not going to see your boyfriend again.
It was the worst. They were just picking on me. They were just picking on me. That was just the worst.
So she comes out with her makeup running, like crying, like, what's going on here, right? So they tell me, listen, you go back into Canada, you drive her to the airport. If you're not back in 2 days to pick up your passport, you will be under arrest. I'm like, okay, this is great. So we drive back into Canada. Right when we get across the thing, right when we get across the border, this officer goes, I gotta tell, this is too funny. What? This is funny. Hold on. I get right across the border, and officer lady pull over. And I go, oh my gosh. And I'm seeing my girlfriend there at the time go by in a cop car, and I was going, this is ridiculous, okay? So, and I'm thinking, no, don't think this part. But it's not bad. It's not bad.
We can take this part out.
Okay,
We can
yeah.
take it out.
Anyway, so we get up there late acid, and I didn't know what to say, so I'm like, so what are you doing? Visiting friends, visiting some friends. Okay, at this point I'm thinking, I just told him I was getting married, whatever, all this stuff, and look, I'm getting arrested now. So what do you do now, right? So of course, dumb, of course they knew. And then, so anyways, I had to go through all kinds of trouble, got her on the plane, I go home, and I'm kind of freaking out. So someone, I don't remember who it was, somebody gave me this immigration lawyer's phone
I
number.
think it was John Levy, the documentary.
Maybe it was John Levin. No, I don't think it was him. I don't know. He would know. Anyway, somebody gave me the number. So I call this guy. I get an appointment, and I'm talking to him, and I'm going, yeah, I was having my girlfriend. She's getting all this stuff, and he's like across me, like he's writing $5,000, and I'm saying, okay. And then this happened, $7,000. In my mind, $13,000. Okay, great. Okay, and then finally, I go, well, I'm going to be gone for a couple weeks. I play with this band. I'm going to tour. I know. Oh, what band do you play for? A band called Dokken. That's where I know you from. Dokken, I love Dokken. He's sitting there and goes, guess what? I want to do your case for free. So he's been our lawyer.
Yeah, without him, we wouldn't be.
Yeah, he pulled some strings, and he pulled strings. We still had to go through the system and do it, everything. But it took a year and a half, even having special connections. But anyways, so it worked out great. Yeah. Anyways, I'm not going to get... That's as bad as the story goes, I think, so, right? Yeah. Okay.
Alrighty. Well, we just want to thank you
All right.
for letting us interview you. And yeah.
All right, awesome. I hope it was interesting. Very
It was,
cool.
very
Very cool.
The
Very
only
cool.
thing I wish we had were his mom and dad. They were
Yes.
great people, and the rest of his family.
You know what?
I would have loved for you guys to have been able to meet them too.
You know, one of the cool things about my parents was that they never ever complained when the walls were shaking. They were we used to joke about this. They
just
would
click
watch TV.
Yeah, you just.
Just turn it up louder.